Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled you're tuning in today because we are tackling a massive topic, one that practically everyone deals with, but honestly, very few people actually want to talk about. If you're here, you're probably a focus-driven person, but I'd bet good money you're also carrying around this heavy, lingering anxiety. You know the one, that constant nagging sensation that no matter what you do, you're just not doing enough. You wake up, you work hard, and yet there's this pervasive modern anxiety just whispering in your ear, telling you you're falling behind schedule. Well, today, we're going to dive right into the data, the patterns, and the actual psychology behind that exact feeling.
And I want to kick things off by hitting you with a truth that might completely contradict how you're feeling right now. Here it is. You are not actually behind in life. Literally, just let that sink in for a second. Because despite that rushed feeling in your chest, despite that constant need to catch up, the objective reality is that there is absolutely no universal timeline that you're failing to meet. You are not late.
But, right, that brings us to the elephant in the room, the obvious question. So, why does it feel like you are? If you are genuinely not behind, why is the illusion so incredibly strong? Why does it feel so overwhelmingly real that you're moving too slowly, or missing the boat, or somehow failing to hit these milestones you're supposedly meant to hit?
Part 1. The feeling of being late.
Okay, so we need to unpack where this persistent anxiety actually comes from. Because, it usually hits the absolute second you open your phone or look at your social circle. You look around and boom, people are making more money, they're getting ahead, buying things, moving faster. It's just a relentless, overwhelming barrage of updates. Someone just bought a house, someone else got a promotion. Oh look, someone else is on this spectacular European vacation. Suddenly, even if you had a perfectly fine, super productive day, your own life feels incredibly slow. You get hit with this relatable punch to the gut. Even if you're actively improving, even if you are trying your absolute best, this endless barrage makes you feel like you are just fundamentally late to the party.
But here is the core truth bomb we have to drop right now. That feeling, it is not reality. It's comparison. The inadequacy you are feeling right now is not based on actual failure on your part. It's entirely based on a deeply unfair comparative metric. You are measuring your real, everyday reality against a standard that just doesn't exist in the real world.
Part 2. The comparison trap.
You see, you aren't comparing your real, messy day-to-day life to someone else's real, messy day-to-day life. No way. You are comparing your life to their highlight reels, their wins, their heavily filtered success, their picture-perfect moments. And here's the real kicker. You aren't just doing this with one person. You are consuming this curated perfection from hundreds of people at the exact same time. It's like you're taking the absolute best 1% of 100 different lives, Frankensteining them together into one impossible super life, and then beating yourself up for not living it.
And this brings us to a massive, game-changing psychological realization. You weren't meant to measure your life against thousands of others daily. Literally, your brain's hardware was simply never designed for this level of social comparison. Think about it from an evolutionary standpoint. Human beings were meant to live in small groups, right? Maybe comparing ourselves to a few dozen peers at most. But now, you're holding a device in your pocket that forces you to measure your life against thousands of others every single day. It is a complete hardware mismatch. So obviously, no matter what you do, it never feels like enough, because someone, somewhere, is always ahead of you in some specific category.
Part 3. The social media effect. So we know we have a hardware issue with our brains, but modern technology, it acts as the software that actively makes this exact problem worse through one fundamental mechanism, and that's context removal. Basically, it's the act of seeing results without the struggle behind them. Social media completely strips away all the underlying effort, the late nights, the anxiety, the multiple failures, all gone. It leaves you with absolutely nothing but the polished, shiny end result.
And because all that crucial context is missing, your brain automatically jumps to a flawed conclusion to fill in the blank. It instantly thinks, they're ahead, I'm behind. You see the finish line photo, and you just assume they magically teleported there while you're out here sweating, stuck running the actual race. It's an automatic, unconscious leap of logic that happens every single time you scroll.
Part 4. The missing context. We are constantly presented with these bright, shiny results, the highlight reels, the filtered successes. It looks entirely effortless. But what's conveniently cropped out of the frame, the massive debt they took on to buy that thing, the crushing off-camera stress, the dozens of painful failures that happened right before that one big win, the lucky timing, or the massive advantage they had at their starting point. The gap between what is visible and what is hidden is absolutely huge. So when you only consume the sanitized, picture-perfect version, well, of course you feel behind. You are literally comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles to everyone else's opening night.
Part 5. Shifting your perspective. So how do we actually fix this? Well, here is the empowering shift I want you to take away from this explainer today. You are not behind. You're just looking sideways too often. The root problem in your life right now is not a lack of effort, it's not a lack of talent, and it's definitely not a lack of speed. Your only problem is where your eyes are pointed. You're trying to run your own race, but you're constantly twisting your neck to see what the runners in the other lanes are doing. And honestly, that sideways glance is exactly what's slowing you down. So here is the clear progression to get your momentum back. Step 1, stop measuring your life against everyone else. Just cut the comparison metric entirely. Unplug from it. Because the moment you do that, step 2 happens completely naturally. You start moving again. You break the paralysis. And as a result, we hit step 3. You become faster, clearer, and calmer. When you aren't carrying around the heavy mental weight of 1,000 other people's curated expectations, your own path suddenly becomes incredibly clear and so much easier to navigate. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. The next time that wave of anxiety hits, the next time you feel like you are fundamentally late to life, ask yourself honestly, are you actually behind, or are you just watching everyone else run? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on your own lane, and I'll catch you next time.